just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them, you thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
you cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
Hello and welcome back to the A Show. I am Justin here with Meelz. It is the 91st episode, Meelz. I know you hate that I keep, bringing up the number, but I got to. It's monumental.
I'm just ignoring it now.
Okay. Cool.
But we're here. Shoot, man. How have you been, man? How's your days been? How's the days of J5 currently been?
Good. I mean, we're in the beginning of summer in LA here. It's just started hitting 85 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be 100 degrees on Saturday in New York City.
That's fire.
No, it is not fire. It is the opposite of fire. It actually might literally be fire. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Because it is the humidity this season has been just so infuriating. And I'm a person, if I'm hot, don't talk to me, don't touch me, don't anything like that. And it's just, the New York City streets, I don't like it. I don't trust people. You be on the train using public transportation, which I know is whack because you guys don't use public transportation like that. But
people do, but I don't think it's as good as you guys.
It's pretty terrible. I've sat next to people. I don't enjoy sitting next to people who don't know what showers are. And especially in those tight New York City trains where it's arm next to arm and fucking people's sweaty pits. Yeah.
That sounds very triggering to you right now.
Yes, it's very, very triggering. But please visit New York City. I mean,
I've been in New York in the summertime, surprisingly. And it's like that heat bouncing off of the buildings there, because all the buildings there are like super like tall. All the heat that bounces off that, you're like in an oven. Like you guys are like enclosed off. There's no open space. And it's a different type of heat. Because like technically, if you didn't have those, you guys would probably be like, Virginia.
The air is different. Like the air, I've always heard the air in like Virginia or any of the other states where it's like a lot more clear and open. It conducts heat and just, it affects the temperature a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Like a cold, like 50 degrees here is okay, but 50 degrees somewhere else is like, yo, it's fucking cold.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's not, but I mean, you still see like white people wearing shorts. That's
of course. White people just feel weather differently. I've accepted that. I've accepted that as a scientific fact, even though I don't have it proven.
I mean, you have a white friend, Pat.
I do have a white friend.
Yeah. And you ask Pat how it feels when it's 55 degrees outside, and I bet you it's a completely different set of circumstances for him.
Listen, I can't explain the scientificness of it all, but white people just feel weather differently than black people. It's just different. I don't know. It's not good or bad. It's just different.
Other than that, I've been pretty much catching up on the RNC slate of podcasts. I literally just finished up the last episode of The Lookout. Excellent job by you, Jeff, and X from the Looking Glass podcast. Did an excellent job on that episode.
Thank you. We had a fun time talking about a bunch of stuff that are just not canon and having fun. And we're getting a lot more into different type of anime. So if you're a fan of anime and you can, if you're interested in what we're talking about, you can check out the Lookout Instagram, the lookout.db.
Excellent content on that Instagram.
Yeah. You can definitely check that out. And see what we're offering this summer. We're coming really pretty hot this summer. So make sure you just stay tuned to RNC Radio Live Twitter feed. So you can definitely do that. One show I've been trying to get into that I haven't gotten into yet is Euphoria. I've been sitting with it and just like, not like I haven't started yet. There's so many shows that I have to start, but I know I want to start this one because of the work that you guys are doing, you and Mark are doing on Euphoria, you know, the Overly Medicated podcast that I've wanted to listen to, but I haven't yet because I haven't started Euphoria, and I just don't want to listen and just get spoiled because you guys are very awesome at what you do.
Thank you. And also, you know, the Overly Medicated podcast, our first few episodes on there are on the RNC channel on SoundCloud and on iTunes and Spotify and everywhere where podcasts can be listened to with myself and Mark. I mean, it's a show that I can't say, and I say this all the time, like I can't say that like I'm in love with it, but I am absolutely interested in what happens on this show. I think that it veers from like one side to the next side. Sometimes I'm just like, what is this show trying to be? But in the end, I find myself coming back to it, very excited about it. And, you know, those are the types of shows that I find the most interesting, where it's like, you know, I'm liking the experience, even though I like critically, like I'm very harsh on it on the actual show.
Right.
Like I'm enjoying the experience of, you know, Euphoria, and I can't wait to see where they go next with it.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's get into No Holds Barred for this week. Very, very chock full of No Holds Barred. Do we want to do hot takes this episode, or do we want to?
No, I've always wanted to do hot takes every episode now. Like the hot takes are fun to me, even if it means we maybe got to, you know, run through No Holds Barred a little bit quicker. The hot takes are just
okay.
I love what you guys have been submitting, especially to the hot take sort of thing. So keep doing it, keep submitting it. Like I love it.
Well, as we're talking, find two. Let's do two this week.
Oh, okay. Two? Only two? We got to do three. I like three.
No, this week, let's do two.
No, let's do three.
We got to talk about a pay-per-view. We got to talk about the shows.
I won't. I promise to you, we won't make them very, very long. I promise to you.
We'll think of three, one really good one, and two ones we can just kind of wrap up. Is that fine?
Okay.
All right.
Sure, yeah.
First up on No Holds Barred, Jeff Hardy, who is off of TV right now with an injury. He's recovering right now. Was arrested for public intoxication this week. He was apparently found literally just laying on a set of stairs by the police. And just a really tragic kind of set of events. I mean, addiction, you know, is so tough. And, you know, we're just talking about Euphoria, which deals with a lot of that type of thing. But, you know, Jeff Hardy's always been fighting this demon. And, you know, it's just very, very, like, it's really sad and kind of heartbreaking that he's still fighting with this, and it's been very tough for him.
You know, I don't want to sound like insensitive or anything like that. I've always I saw this story, and you know, I guess I've been to many functions where I've seen people in similar states. Just because they did a little bit too much. They mix one thing with another thing, and they know those things weren't going to mix well. A chemical imbalance of the sort. I'm wondering if this is more one of those situations, or it's really just like, yo, I'm just like one of those situations where it's just like, yo, maybe I drank too much, maybe I smoked too much, like maybe I'm, you know, the kids call it crossfaded.
Oh Lord.
Maybe I did a little bit too one of those, and maybe I'm just like being discovered. And because he's Jeff Hardy, it's now like sort of public thing. But for the last few years, it seems like he's been clean, to be honest with you. I haven't really seen any sort of major reports about anything, like, you know, ever since.
I think there was something 2 years ago. But
it's nothing. I feel like, not to say I don't want to completely ignore and completely shut it down, because I do think that it's kind of unacceptable, especially, you know, public intoxication. Like, you're you know, a public figure. I would, you know.
You probably also have purple hair.
Yeah, like I would pull it under wraps. You're a very noticeable guy, and you know, he's a superstar of the Attitude Era. So a lot more people noticing him than people will probably notice the people of today. But I think, you know, I'm interested in more of the circumstances around this. I don't want to say too much because it's legitimately a TMZ report. We've had this experience in the past where people were like, yo, the Usos again? And like, yes, it was the Usos again. But then the report ended up being like wildly blown out of proportion of people like taking shirts off and squaring up with the police and shit like that. So I kind of want to wait for more things to come out. But this is unfortunate considering the timeline of news that we have from Jeff Hardy over the last maybe decade and a half of him going through similar situations. So I don't know. I would probably begin to sort of clean my act up, especially as he's heading into his 40s.
I think he's already there.
It's not a good look. I think he's still below the 40 thing, I believe. Oh no, he's 41. Yeah, clean that up, bro.
Yeah.
That's not sexy at all. Come on.
He's already there. But I mean, again, praying for this guy. I really hope he can kind of shake this, and hopefully he's back. After his leg injury, he's reported supposed to be back by the fall, so we'll see. We have a Sasha Banks watch this week. Very short, very probably disappointing to some people.
Yeah.
First up, 2 days ago, she posted on Instagram that she got a tattoo inside of her lip that says "protect."
I'm good on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
She's having her true hot girl summer or hot girl spring.
She's pretty much on summer vacation from WWE. And it's, we'll get to that in another sort of thing, but I'm not completely mad at it. But yeah.
And also, and this is literally, as soon as I wrote it down, I had to literally say, oh, never mind. She was advertised for next week's huge edition of Monday Night Raw in Tampa. And literally up to an hour ago, she was removed from the listings of superstars that were going to be on that show. So again, we're probably not going to get Sasha Banks there. And I know we were thinking and hoping last week that she would show up at least at Extreme Rules or on this week's Raw or the next week's Raw. And it doesn't look like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe they jumped the gun a little bit too. And
again, also these things are also planned out months in advance. So
this is true.
We don't know if they have been taking her off of these listings and house shows before that either. Like this was the biggest show that they had been doing. She was reported to be there. Literally up to an hour ago, they took her off. They probably just caught it and they didn't catch it for the other city. So, that is what it is.
Also, it could be photoshopped by any fan or something like that.
No, it was real. It was real.
Okay. I hope she's back. That's all I'll say. I hope she's back. SummerSlam kind of needs her, to be honest with you. Because the SummerSlam card that we're building thus far, it's good, but it ain't
SummerSlam.
It ain't the attraction that it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and we'll get to that when we talk about this week's shows. Speaking of that, Raw. Next week's Raw has been promoted as a reunion show. So many names on that list that will be showing up, including Eric Bischoff, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Santino Marella is showing up.
Santino, that's good, man. You better get a job, man.
Razor Ramon or Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are showing up. I believe X-Pac as well. There were so many names. I don't know how they're going to fit all these people into a 3-hour Raw. I would imagine that this episode of Raw is going to be something that has to do with SummerSlam. I think everyone's kind of predicting that this will be part of an angle for SummerSlam, possibly someone part-time coming back for the show that so sorely needs it right now.
Like Santino Marella.
No, absolutely not. Do you have any kind of, it's hard to say, sort of predict this. Because when we a couple of months ago predicted Ric Flair's birthday angle, we thought this had to do with the Charlotte, Becky, Ronda feud. And it ended up not having anything to do with it at all. It ended up leading to Batista Triple H. As far as we know right now, I have no clue who could be coming into a part-time, like Goldberg maybe, but probably not because he's not advertised. Kurt Angle is advertised, but it's like I don't think they were going to push a Kurt Angle match in Toronto. I have no clue what to expect from next week's Raw based on this list.
I couldn't tell you either. From all the rumors and everything that's been circulating on the dirt sheets regarding this, it's just been saying that this one was pitched by USA Network as something to improve ratings on Raw, which I completely, understand if they would do it. And I wouldn't say pitch. Maybe it was something that was thrown around. I was like, maybe we could do a reunion thing. I don't think USA Network is like, yo, do a Raw reunion. We need this guy there, that guy there. I don't think that's happening. I think they're just throwing some stuff around and say, how can we make the show a little bit more interesting as, as we continue to go through? How can we, make some big events? I don't see anything going on. I don't see any part-timers coming back. I don't see any big SummerSlam angle. I think SummerSlam, it's already kind of figured. I think something
figured out.
Yeah, I think it's already figured out. I don't even think we're gonna do like a big old time angle type of deal. I don't think.
Don't get me wrong. I don't mind if they don't. I'm just trying to again.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I don't think there's going to be anything on unless Triple H is fighting again. I don't think there's anything going on, to be honest with you. I think
my work shoot sense is are flaring up right now. I just think that we should be careful with what we say.
I think we'll get something with Eric Bischoff that would be very, very interesting. That's all I can probably think of. It seems like they've got most things. Like, I don't even think Brock will be there unless he will.
He's already taken care of. I mean, it won't be him either. So
it's I don't know.
We'll see.
I would say stay tuned. Yeah, I would say stay tuned. Might be cool seeing all these old,
except Hogan.
Yeah, except Hogan. They've been pushing Hogan hard, man. But
it's interesting. They keep putting him in cities that won't boo him.
Of course.
Put him in New York, he's getting booed. Put him in LA, he's getting booed. Put him in any smart town, he's getting booed out the building. Put him in Tampa, they're all right.
Yeah, he can't come back to the Garden. He can't. He just can't.
Yeah. Next up, Finn Balor is reportedly taking time off for 2 months following SummerSlam. He apparently requested the time off, and they granted it to him. I mean, I'm not upset about this. A lot of people are trying to make, again, wrestling journalism, trying to make it a thing that's this is him being underutilized. And then, shout out to Chris Novak, who was a guest on the show last week, basically saying, well, no, that's not it. He was the 6th most used person in the roster this year. He's probably just burnt out. And I mean, you look at a guy that ever since he's come back from injury 2 years ago, he's been working. I'm all for it. Also, I mean, it looked as though he got engaged to his girlfriend a couple of weeks ago when he was also off again. But,
he's doing the quick engage, turnover into marriage type of deal. Okay.
Because, when would he have time to do it otherwise?
I'm sure he'll figure out time. Here's the thing. Here's why I can say confidently, I'm sure he'll figure out time. It looks like WWE is becoming a lot more accommodating to time off as of recently. Yeah. Dolph Ziggler has just come back from 2.5 months off. I mean, he even missed Mania because he was just so burnt out. I think he didn't miss Mania. He missed, he missed a couple months. It was fine. Rusev is currently, taking some time off. Everyone who's been wondering why he hasn't been on the show, he's just came out and say I have time off. Finn Balor is also, and it makes, if this is the way that we're going, especially with 2 incredibly bloated rosters with a ton of superstars who aren't getting utilized, and them saying okay, we can start giving people time off. We won't give the guys who are featured actively time off and people who are maybe into our plans, but people who are kind of loosely used. I would say Finn Balor loosely used, considering he was off for 3 weeks before he showed up again. Dolph Ziggler, usually not really intertwined in a major program or any major programs moving forward, can kind of take time off. Mm-hmm. Daniel Bryan, a couple months ago, we thought he was injured, took some time off after Mania. They're becoming a lot more accommodating to it, and I'm personally for it, considering how rigorous the WWE schedule is. And I think it does a lot to help preserve just not only the physical state, but the mental state of a lot of people that they're, that they have under their umbrella. I mean, they have so many guys now. Raw's still 3 hours, whether Finn Balor is there or not, or anything like that.
And they'll find someone. They'll always find someone. We've seen that, and we'll talk about Finn because
Roman was out, and they found someone. So it's possible.
And Finn was actually an integral part of the shows this week, even with us knowing he's taking time off. We're at least seeing potentially how he's going to be written off. So I'm all for it. I mean, Finn Balor is obviously one of my favorite guys on the roster, and I'm all for him taking some time off. I think he'll benefit more from it.
Listen, Bray Wyatt got 11 months off. 11 months off. I think they're good with time off as of recently now. So to me, I'm fine with it.
Numbers came in for SmackDown just now. I literally just saw it skitter across my timeline.
Okay, turn up.
SmackDown was the #1 show on cable last night, and its ratings beat everyone else on TV. But shout out to @KingAGeezy for that.
Okay, you get a nice shout out on the show, my friend. Listen, SmackDown, they're kind of on an upswing. We'll get to it as the show, moves forward.
They are. But it just goes to show that these things are ebbs and flows. Like we've been saying, and on a week, SmackDown will be #1. You know, and on a strong week, it'll be, it'll do a million. So, it is what it is. One more thing before we move on. We had a huge weekend in wrestling last weekend. One of them being a show that I didn't watch, but I used social media to kind of gauge what was going on and clips. I kind of treated the AEW show like I would treat sports, like I would treat an NBA game. Like sometimes you don't need to.
You just played on mute. I just played it on mute, bro.
Well, even if it was not even that. Like
I've watched many Knicks games on mute.
I'll watch the highlights on Twitter where it's like they'll just put the best dunks in the game winner, and then that'll be it.
I mean, you can't argue with that.
So I don't have much to say about the show. I don't know. Did you watch the show? I
actually watched most of the show.
It was like 5 hours.
Yeah, I watched most of the show. You know why? Because I had it running side by side with the Evolve show. So I had both screens up. Shout out to 2019. We can kind of do that. I had the Evolve running. When Evolve thing wasn't interesting, I would unmute that and then mute, or mute that and then unmute Fight for Fallen. And if, Sean Spears showed up, then I would like mute that Fight for Fallen and then go back to Evolve or something along those lines. I would do something like that. That's kind of like the new Monday Night Wars thing, I guess, that's going on in 2019. Overall, the show, wasn't a particularly bad show, but definitely wasn't a momentous show. Like considering they've done probably 3 pay-per-views in the last month and a half.
Do you think there's too many? Because I mean, granted, we get a little bit.
I think they're building towards something. Like I think we won't get as much when they actually start television.
Granted, they're taking kind of a break. In between this, a little bit of a break, kind of.
Yeah,
I do think that they're kind of doing a lot of shows with no TV in between. It looks very weird and disjointed, and this show definitely showed that.
No, I get it because they're doing a lot of shows because they don't have the TV yet, and they're still trying to establish all these talents. I think compared to previous shows, they did a great job in this show, mainly because before every match, before every program, they had the little video packages and you could see what the guy was about. You could see what the program was about, if there was any sort of, thing, hint towards that. But they really decided, hey, we're going to showcase the roster a little bit more. And I would say that's a plus compared to, what was it, Double or Nothing, where it were kind of matches for the sake of having matches. Now, this was kind of too.
I was like the main event, huh?
Yeah, matches for the sake of having matches. But I think they're still showing off. And like before we get to TV, here's what our guys are. And that's kind of what this AEW Fight for Fallen was. I thought, I watched the 6-person tag team match. It was okay. The Brandy versus Allie match, that was interesting. Awesome Kong and what was it? The other Kong. Oh my God.
Aja Kong.
Yeah. That's a good, people seemed to go up for that. So I wasn't mad at that. That seemed like something that people were generally excited for, that AEW is providing a moment that maybe people have never seen. So at least they're in the business of doing that. 3-way tag team match. That was kind of long. Adam Page versus Kip Sabian. That went way too long.
Yuck.
That they were doing like, we got a 5-minute warning. I was like, I thought Adam Page was supposed to be the guy. Like, I thought considering he's going into the World Championship match with Chris Jericho in the next month or so, like he's supposed to be the guy.
And let's be clear, he's not winning that match.
No. No, he's not. And I don't know if they thought I don't know if they think he's going to be the guy or they just needed a person that wasn't, the 4 executives. That would make it look kind of fucking weird, of them getting the title shot and them getting the title first, because that would set a bad precedent for their company. But Adam Page, to me, when I look at that match, I was like, that's not the guy, because there's no way he's going like to the distance with
and it doesn't make sense to have and granted, the guy I'm about to say is going to win it is like kind of like the same type of thing, but it's like milk toast white guy is your champ going into TNT, but it's like it's a lot better when it says Chris Jericho is your champ going in, and
100%.
You have the Bucks, who are this new tag team that no one's ever seen before on network television at all, and they're doing this crazy stuff. It's like I see. I don't agree with it, but it's like it's the same shit that people get mad at WWE for pushing Brock for. It's like it's still an established face. It's still someone who is like, oh shit, he's done UFC. It's like Jericho's been at every company.
Right.
You know, you've seen him before in 1999. In 2019, he's still doing the same thing. Adam Page is just like, is he wearing cowboy boots? You know, it's like, right. No, that's not what the type of look the TNT is going for.
That's not even the face of what people are going for in 2019, to be honest with you. I don't think that should be the face of any. I mean, not that I'm sure he's a great guy, don't get me wrong, but at least like what we're moving forward with as a culture, I don't think Adam Page represents that. I think Chris Jericho will probably win the championship. It's a good look for him to be champion going into TNT. It's great for their lineage of whatever championship that they're creating. To have Chris Jericho, an established face, one of the most legendary characters to ever be their first champion, and he's probably going to brag about it for the rest of his life.
Even if he isn't where he was, I mean, I also saw a part where he came out for the promo and he forgot to do the promo after the Page match, so he did it later.
Yeah. I mean, but this is the part of, AEW, we don't write for the guys. They go out and do their own thing. And I'm like, how long is that going to work? Like, how long does that work realistically? Like, yes, we wouldn't want people I think a lot of people getting, flack in the WWE for scripts and things, but I think this is more, it's more critical than scripts. It's more so like time and things like that. Like you go out and you don't even know what the person's going to say. You could bury the rest of the roster. You could do anything. He could say something inflammatory on network television, and then suddenly people are complaining to get you off the air. Like, this is what kind of I'm sure they have like a skeleton of what's going on, and they just say, Chris Jericho, we need you to promote this match. And he goes out and does that. But you kind of want to have a much more closer supervision on that.
And perhaps the biggest part of what you just said, or the biggest example of this, is at the end of the show, after the incredibly long Bucks and Rhodes Brothers match, they essentially, it was like a weird 10 minutes where the Bucks did a promo where it was like, hey, we're still friends. And then they came out with the cons and they had a check. And they were like saying, then Cody came out and he seemed drunk or high or just white.
Nah, he seemed exhausted. I will say this. I don't think they, part of having a script would realize that, for a show that is, to raise money against gun violence, and then their main character's like ending slogan heavily implies gun violence.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that maybe a script would fix, or maybe at least some, forward planning would fix.
And Cody essentially says, and counter to the show that had aired and had been off the air 2 hours after this had ended, said, you can't counter program us, the longer show. I said that parentheses. You can't counter program AEW. And it's like, dude, talk about the fucking charity. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like he was just gassing his own shit. But, it's interesting. I thought it just dragged on. That ending part dragged on. But then again, this is for charity, so it is what it is. I'll take it for that. But yeah, I mean, the show overall, it was okay. I wouldn't urge anyone to go back for it. I would just tell you, look forward to, was it All Out?
Yeah.
It is All Out. That's up next.
That's such a weird... Hey, we all out.
We all out. I mean, you was all in. Now we're going all out. I understand.
All out of what?
We're going all out. We're just going all out, man. We're just going all out.
Speaking of Evolve, that's the 10th anniversary show aired on Saturday.
Yes.
WWE Network. Incredibly positive reactions from everyone that I saw on the timeline talking about it. I watched it as well. Thought it was a very strong show that had, for me, no less than 4 or 5 4-star matches that I rated. I thought it was very great. I thought that, from top to bottom, it even looked different. I thought, just having that sheen. I don't know if the E slid them a couple dollars to get the.
Of course they did, man. WWE ain't gonna have no funky jazz on their network.
Oh God.
But yeah, have that whatever Slammiversary was looking like on the network.
Slammiversary was literally in the basement. It looked like
Slammiversary. If you told me that was OVW, I was like, okay, that looks like OVW's on. But where's TNA? I'd be like, yo, the lights is kind of funky in there. But they gave him some new lights. They gave him some new sheen. It was great seeing these in like crisp, high definition, all other stuff like that. They gave him a few superstars too. It wasn't just, people did the job back and forth.
I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, I thought it was a great show. To me, the standout match to me had to be that Brandy Lauren and Shotzi Blackheart match. My God.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God. Just
Shotzi crazy, bro.
Shotzi's crazy. And that was my first time ever seeing her. God bless her. She's going to be in the E one day. They're probably going to tell her to tone it down, but don't listen to them. And they're probably going to change her name to like Shouty or something like that. But like, it was so good and brutal and so like indicative of like, these are two women who are really, you don't see a lot of women on the, go ahead.
They were fighting. Like, it was a real fucking fight. Like, Shotzi was busted open literally like 2 seconds into the match. Like, she from the kick from homegirl who ran in.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, this is about to be real different right here.
Right. Because I mean, so here WWE produces like women's evolution type of deal, and you kind of rarely get to see it, the same sort of sentiments echoed throughout the rest of the wrestling world. I know Impact has done it plenty of times. AEW, they haven't gotten there yet with their roster. But you really got to see like, these two people kind of dishing it out and brawling it out and kind of make a name for themselves on this show. They won over the crowd. They won over me, who's seen them for the first time, and like, they're really putting it all on the line.
Yeah. I thought that was great. I think my match of the night was probably Gulak and Riddle. Really fucked with that match. I think that, again, it's like Riddle got into his Evolve bag. It's like he wrestled a completely different style than WWE style. And I thought it was really interesting to see even Cole and Tozawa wrestling in a they went back to the Indies for one night.
Yeah.
It was like, this is old school Adam Cole-ish type shit here. And again, like not much else for me. Like for me, as far as the show, I just think it was an excellent show. Probably if Extreme Rules was a dud, this would have probably been my show of the weekend. But Extreme Rules was actually a very strong show. How did you feel about Extreme Rules, Meelz?
So let me actually run back and look at the card. It's been so much wrestling over the past week. My brain is like trying to readjust to all of them. But Extreme Rules, I thought it was a great show. I thought, especially from the top to the bottom, like what it opened with, which was better than we'd expected, right? Like Undertaker and Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre.
Let's talk about Nakamura Balor, man.
Oh, right. I mean, yes, they also started with that. If you tuned into the pre-show, yes.
So people were mad about that, right? And I said, the pre-show needs a 5-star match to start it off. And
well, what were they mad about?
Who better? Because they were on the kickoff show.
Oh, okay.
So I'm watching this match, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know who I want to win this, man. You
have both dogs in the race, my friend.
Exactly.
You were out here. There's nothing. I would have never anticipated you being disappointed in this match or even the people at this point. Like,
so they're wrestling, and I'm like, oh man, who's gonna win this? I don't know. I was scared. I was shook. I thought that it would be like a DQ or something, and Nakamura hits that Kinshasa. I dug into my pocket and I said, I have a couple stars. Just a few, just to give out for the night. I pulled out 5 stars and I put it right on the table. And I said, you know what? Nakamura Balor is a 5-star 7-minute match. Good Lord. I cried. I laughed. I screamed. A classic in every single way.
You stand. That's what you did. You stand. You stand for both of them. It's understandable. I don't share the same star sentiments as you, but I do believe it was a fantastic match that they had on the kickoff show, a kickoff classic, as you might say.
There we go. We can go back to the Undertaker. Undertaker basically pulled up and said, yo, man.
We working tonight.
These motherfuckers, Meelz and Justin, was talking shit.
He heard the talk.
And he said, the talk. Let me show these motherfuckers. Let me walk on the ropes extra balance today. Just to show
turned up. Listen, he turned up. He gave all the hits. Yeah. I mean, from the old school, the sit up. The sit up was crazy. The sit up, I feel like we hadn't seen in a while, but we probably did. But we probably didn't care about it.
Correct sit up.
Oh my God, the no selling of very important moves. Classic Undertaker. the man was moving. He was moving a lot better than some of these new kids. Like he was out here.
I won't go that far, but yeah.
No, he was running the ropes. Come on. Undertaker, when he runs in the corner and the clotheslines people and stuff like that, he's still got a little bit of speed to him.
Well, one thing I want to talk about with Undertaker is this motherfucker had on a compression dry fit.
The compression fit from hell, my friend.
Where do they sell that at?
In hell, man. In hell.
Do they have an athleisure store in?
Of course, yes. Death Valley athleisure. Listen, she ain't wearing that Nike. I tell you that.
Yeah. Oh no. We're in the Under Armour.
Why? See, we had to cut him down because we just bigged him up so crazy. But he did a great job. He did a great job. Him and Roman, great job. And Shane and Drew. And
also notice that that Roman has also kind of sort of been on a part-time-esque schedule as well. And I want to say that when he put out that article on, I believe it was like Variety or something like that a couple weeks ago, he said he was still taking his pills to combat his leukemia, and that he still has the side effects of it. And when I read that, I was like, in my mind, I was like, there's no way that he is going to be doing a full-time schedule anytime soon for the WWE. And then you look at this week's show, and he's barely on both of them.
Yeah, I think he said like 4 words in Roman on SmackDown and then peaced out.
And left. And I think he worked mostly during that battle royale at the end of Raw. And I mean, he was out. I mean, he was in the final 4, but he was out relatively quickly on that match as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll say it, but you know, you got SummerSlam season coming up. There's a place for him. I don't know what he's doing.
Me either, because I mean, the card, even without him, looks crazy.
Yeah, it looks like it's already, unless someone's coming back to face Roman.
No.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
But I mean, again,
you know what? Raw Reunion could use. I'll give a hot take. Raw Reunion could use the return of John Cena.
Not happening.
What?
He's filming Fast and Furious right now.
Tell him to take a break.
You can't, bro. I mean,
Rock used to do it all the time.
Didn't though. Like it literally just began filming.
All right.
There's 2 weeks. There's 2 weeks of SummerSlam. Like, it's literally no time for him to do that shit.
Just let him show up. Just let him rock.
He just like took a picture and like posted it today from set. And I think he might have a large part in it because I think The Rock is barely in this one. That's why if you were to bet on anyone coming back, it'd probably be Rock. He's more than likely not really going to be in Fast and Furious 9 because he doesn't like Vin Diesel.
Ooh, Rock got Ballers or something, and Tyrese. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, them too. And I mean, also Hobbs and Shaw comes out in the first. So
Hobbs and Shaw, yeah. Tell him come promote Hobbs and Shaw. Come on.
Nah. But I mean, it's true.
It's Aleister Black versus Cesaro. We got to talk about it.
I loved it. I think that for everyone that ever complains about Cesaro not winning the WWE Championship, you look at performances like this and you realize why not everyone can be at that level, because they have to elevate guys like Aleister to where they need to be, especially.
I thought you was about to say some wild shit. I'm not even gonna.
What did you think I was about to say?
I thought you were going to say, you look at this match and you understand why he can't be the champion.
Oh, no. I mean, you realize why you need guys like this. Like, I think you even posed a question on Sunday, like, what's Cesaro's
like his NBA basketball equivalent.
Like he's like the sixth man of the WWE. Like, he fills in as a utility player, whether you need him in tag teams, whether you need him in singles matches. He's made, in just 2 months, Aleister Black look like a killer. Ricochet look like a killer. And these are two guys that obviously, if you look at the two, like, they paired them up earlier this year, and now they put them against Cesaro, both making both guys look good because they have things that are destined for them coming up. And I think this match was perfect. And you know what's even more interesting? The Cesaro match with Aleister was so much different from the Cesaro match with Ricochet, where, you know, he's trying to ground Ricochet here. But this Cesaro match against Aleister Black was like it was all strikes. It was a different match than what we've ever seen in the WWE before, or recently at least, where it was all pretty much strikes. And I mean, you could just name all of the spots they did, like when he tried to do the Meteora, and then he picked up Aleister, threw him up in the air, and did a fucking European uppercut. Like, I popped for that.
It was 100% crazy. I think there was a high level of professional wrestling going on. And I know that sounds like a lame term to say, but there's a high level of thinking, a high level of psychology in this match. These guys their strikes were with precision and they were with meaning. The back and forth, I thought the intensity was great. They kind of went back and forth a lot, and because they really wanted to win this match, and it wasn't just a showcase of Aleister Black. It was kind of like Cesaro is also here. Cesaro is also someone who can contend as well. I thought they went back and forth. I thought that final spot where Cesaro kind of gets flubbed up by the kicks and then ends up getting the Black Mass.
Such a great finisher.
It was great. I mean, he hit him with the kick in the shin. Cesaro tried to block it, hit him with another kick, tried to block it again, couldn't block the Black Mass.
And then they do a better like a really cool spot on SmackDown too.
Yeah.
But again, I can't think of a better way to reintroduce Aleister Black as kind of like a badass here. Just the way he finished that match off. Like a fucking action star. Really liked it. I'm all in on Black on the main roster so far. I think that they've handled Ricochet and Aleister Black so much differently than they have any other NXT call-ups in the past 2 or 3 years.
Well, let's talk about Ricochet. Ricochet lost his United States Championship this Sunday to AJ Styles. What do we think about that? I mean, I think that it's still pairing up for a feud that's going on. I think
Styles feuds are always 5 months.
Yeah, they just are. So I think. Especially considering he has Gallows and Carl Anderson, maybe this is going to, hint towards something. Maybe Ricochet gets a crew. I don't know. But it's certainly something that's going to help the profile of Ricochet in the eyes of many. I mean, when you're going up against AJ Styles, who's one of the biggest, superstars in the company right now, all eyes are on you. And especially when you can perform the way that Ricochet performs, this is the best spot, probably position that he could be in going to SummerSlam.
I thought the match was definitely the lesser of the 3 that they've had so far.
Yeah.
I do think that
when I went into this match, I was like, I wish they hadn't had their first 2 matches yet, but I understand, but I kind of wish they didn't. I wish that we kind of got the magic of AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the first time ever on the show.
But I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was actually a really good match. I just thought that the first match was like first gear. Second match was, first gear. This match was kind of second gear, kind of moving up. But apparently the story here, and it continued on Raw on Monday, was that AJ can't beat Ricochet without help. That he's literally going back to the club every single time because he cannot beat Ricochet without the club there. I would say SummerSlam, because it looks as though this is continuing, give him a ladder match. I think it's a match we haven't seen in a while. And I think you have to show Ricochet off. They have not been able to really show off everything the guy can do. Give him a match.
I say if I were to put a stipulation on this, I would probably say, SummerSlam. I'm trying to think of SummerSlam. I don't know. It would have to be something that kind of showcased their like wrestling. I might say 2 out of 3 falls. I don't know.
Didn't have done that?
Yeah, they probably have done it, considering how Raw is fucking does their thing today. Yeah, then they did 2 out of 3 falls. I mean, that would be the ideal match for me. If they also did a ladder match, I wouldn't be mad. It's just, I don't know how many times AJ Styles fallen off that ladder, just to keep it real with you.
But he fell into the club.
Yeah, that's true.
Onto the club.
That's true.
Really quickly, the main event I thought was a lot better than I thought. It was
had any right to be, quite honestly. You know what? It was still kind of weird though with the tags back and forth, but once they got rid of that tag stuff, it got really, really good.
Yeah, shout out to Becky for taking the end of days. I thought that was really cool.
End of days, yeah. You know what? I thought it was cool just from a visual perspective of just like, all right, let's go. If we're doing this, if we're having men and women interact in this match, let's go all in. Let's
they
not.
They even had Lacey hitting Seth with the kendo stick. Like they did let them interact, all of them.
Yeah, let's let them do what they got to do, and they did that. So I'm not mad at it at all. The results of this match be predicted. Duh.
Yeah.
They wasn't going to let them do that again. But then...
Hooray. And it looks as though they're actually both not in the top of the car anymore. Hooray.
That's a big hooray for me. I don't know if you're meaning sarcastic or not, but that is...
No, I mean, I'm not. I'm actually happy that...
I'm very happy.
Baron Corbin is back to being on the bottom of the card again.
Yeah. But then it led to the Money in the Bank cash-in. Oof.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar wins the Universal Championship one more time. I think this is his third reign.
I think.
It might be his third reign, but either way, the man has been the constant in the Universal Championship scene for the last 3 years. He has made it. He has defended it. He has carried it home and not come back. But to me, a lot of people are mad about it. A lot of people comparing it. It's like, oh, look, this is why they're losing the war to AEW. Well, I feel like, you put the money in the bank on Brock. This was essentially going to happen. Like, you could not have him lose or have him waste the money in the bank. It was just never going to happen. This leads to the match at SummerSlam that I felt like we were going to get anyway. And to me, it has high stakes to it. And I think we're going to see a great match from them and possibly a much more competitive match than we've ever seen before.
I hope. It's the rubber match between the two. And I mean, I guess without further ado, let's get to this week's shows.
Wait. We're going to do hot takes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hurry up. Let's get these hot takes out.
Let's get these. All right. All these hot takes are kind of. I'll do all the hot takes that were kind of put in recently regarding these Evolve and Fight for the Fallen shows. Since you were the one who requested it on Twitter, by the way.
Yes.
Antonio Salgado. This is a name that we've heard before. He says the Evolve Fight for Fallen hot take: Adam Cole is better than Kenny Omega.
Oh, this year for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this year for sure. I wouldn't say he is in totality. I wouldn't say that, I think Kenny Omega has had
one good year. Kenny had one good year. All Adam Cole needs is one good year.
Yeah, but Kenny has in terms of just careers now, you'd say that Kenny Omega has had, much better matches than probably a string of run that Adam Cole has. Would you say?
I think
and just in the career overall.
Kenny lives and dies by his 2016. And just this 1 year, Adam Cole has had two matches that, while debatable between
he's having a great year.
And between the two, like, people have either said the first match with Gargano was a 5-star or the second one was a 5-star. But a lot of people are saying the second match is like one of the greatest NXT matches of all time. So it's like he's right up there.
Right. He's up there. I wouldn't say he's better than Kenny Omega totally right now, but he is having a much better year than Kenny Omega. I'll say that. Another wrestling hot take. It is by The Factor. The Factor. I know it may be hard for that family to admit, but the Rhodes are basically made to be mid-carders. It's damn near in their DNA at this point. None of them have ever screamed world champion. Why all three, in all respect to Dusty, try to fight this is astonishing. The point is going to hit so much harder when Cody eventually, because we know it's going to happen at some point, books himself as world champion.
Oh man, that's
kind of a scorching take.
That left the realm of hot take. That was just straight up.
We're on the surface of the sun right now. I think, you know what? There, in terms of being destined for mid card, there is something. I would say their profile to me has never screamed, and this is Goldust and Cody. None of them have ever screamed like main event WrestleMania or main event the major show of the card. Like,
well, they tried to make Goldust at one point that in like '96.
Yeah,
and he was.
But I don't think it worked. Yeah, because he
was too weird.
To me, it always kind of depended on the gimmick, and then they kind of had to pull back with the gimmick. But to me, Goldust is a fantastic worker and a fantastic hand, and he has just this great natural wrestling ability that you can't understate. But I don't think, could I have thought maybe in like 96, 97, could they have gone with him as world champion? Probably, but I still don't think he would have been like a generation defining superstar. And I think Cody Rhodes is far from that in this generation. I think Cody Rhodes himself, he's one of those who wants to seem bigger than he actually is. He wants to think that he's larger than life than he actually is.
He was never that good to me. He's just really cool on Twitter.
Yeah, I think he's very clever. But in terms of just the amount of guys who've just done it better than him and continue to do it better than him on a consistent level, there's a ton of people. I wouldn't put Cody Rhodes in my top 100 wrestlers. I don't know if I'd even put him in my top 200 wrestlers.
I don't think about Cody Rhodes matches after they happen. So
yeah, I don't think about Cody Rhodes matches either. He has one fantastic match against the Shield to me. And And I think that was a lot to do. That was a lot, in conjunction with Goldust and things like that. But he doesn't really have.
It was a story.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we have another one from Fed Guy. It says, or Feed the Guy. I don't know. He is capitalizing weird letters at some point. It said Roman and Seth greater than Young Bucks. One gave Rhodes an all-time classic match. The other tried to do performance art and had me and others leaving the venue. They suck, and they do really have the same matches. How are they even a top tag team?
That's a tough. Roman and Seth. I don't think they're better than the Young Bucks. I think the Usos are.
Yeah, I think the Usos are. I wouldn't say Roman and Seth. I mean, Roman and Seth. Nah, I wouldn't say Roman and Seth. Roman and Seth don't have as much of a history as the Young Bucks to say. I can't agree with that hot take. I do agree they do a lot of the same things, and it's going to become an old beat in at least 5 more years.
Here's my thing with that is that they're going to keep doing the same matches because once they hit TNT, like I said earlier, no one's ever seen that before.
Yeah,
that's why it's smart for them to push them. I think you had mentioned something about this, or like last weekend, Meelz, or it was like they keep fucking winning, or something like that. And I was like, they have to keep winning because like no one's ever seen the Meltzer driver in real life. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard Bill Simmons on this podcast talk about AEW in a sense, and it was weird hearing him talk about it and him mentioning Kenny Omega and things like that. But that's kind of what we're anticipating, right? Like a whole new audience of people getting used to it and getting used to these names. And these are one of the ways you have a Young Bucks. They kind of show something, like you said, that they've never seen before.
Yeah, and I mean it's easy. It's a layup for them. Even if we've seen it already, that will only affect diehards. They're hoping that casuals will see the Jerichos and will see the Bucks. Like honestly, if you want to keep it 100, like Kenny Omega means very little in the larger sense of things as far as signings go. Mm-hmm. And it's like I can always think about the signing, and it's like I know the bread and the bag was why he signed. It was like I could be EVP, but in the long run, it's like I don't think AEW can make him a bigger star than WWE could have. Right. When you look at it, it's like, who's the biggest star in the Moxley match? It's Moxley. When that happens at All Out, it's going to be Moxley, not Omega. He's consistently going to be like the lesser of the guys. Like he'll be a great workhorse. He'll be a great guy that'll give them pretty good matches. But it's like when he signed there, it was like he wanted to be his own guy. But it's like it seems like the Bucks and Cody, just Cody by proxy, automatically is going to be a top guy there. But it's going to be Cody, Bucks and Omega and Jericho that are going to be the top guys there. I don't know if Kenny has enough to break through. That's why like the signing still perplexes me in a lot of ways. Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't perplex me because it's like he's going with his boys, but I understand completely what you're saying. I think he's pulled since his sort of arrival to AEW, he hasn't really wowed anybody. He's kind of actually been a lot more pulled back. And I think that's a lot because of a lot more of his duties backstage. He's helping the women. He's helping a lot of things. And I don't think he's really just been putting his like all into it.
He's physically regressed. Like he's literally physically regressed.
Yeah, I don't think he's putting everything that he's doing into this matches. And I know this is about Roman and Seth and the Young Bucks and things, but I don't think he's putting it all. His non-wrestling hot take is like, when are they going to stop allowing Beyonce to do movies? She can barely read, let alone act. I don't agree with that.
I'm not talking about. Listen, y'all keep sending in these Beyonce things.
These Fed Guy things.
I'm not talking about Beyonce, man. I'm listen.
I am not talking about Beyonce either. I just read what was on the thing in front of me. I think we got one more Fight for Fallen one. So
this is 4 Meelz. You loved.
I mean, they're all Fight for Fallen ones. Like after a week, they're gonna be expired.
Go ahead.
This one is at Harren Hall, HAAREN HALL.
Harren Hall. He's a he she. He's you're a very big supporter. You tweeted me. We've had conversations. I fucks with you. Go ahead.
You heard it here first. He fucks with you. Wrestling hot take. Fight for the Fallen was the most transparent attempt at woke pandering in years, and people completely bought into it. You expect me to believe a show run by a Cruz supporter, 2 Mike Pence supporters, and a Trump supporter, and sponsored by a shady as fuck law firm gave a shit about gun violence.
Hey,
you said it. I think there's nothing more I need to say. I think what you said speaks volumes.
You took the words out of my mouth. Not much needs to be said about that, but it's like
not much needs to be said, but you said it.
What's more interesting is how many people don't talk about that or try and cloud it. And again, we just goes to show, like, keep that same energy. Like, we're all watching terrible things. We're all watching terrible companies. So I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I still want to continue to do these hot takes. So keep sending them in, and but I'll try to fit them in as much as we can with Justin over the next, and myself at least, especially considering, we're going back to normal recording time. So
yeah, exactly. I think that next week's hot take topic should be, what is your idea?
Wait, we got to clear out this box, man. There's so much more that we haven't even touched yet.
Okay. All right. We'll wait.
Keep submitting. I feel like one day we'll get to an episode where we do an all hot take type of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But keep submitting. Yeah, let's get into the shows this week.
Yes. First up on Monday Night Raw, packed episode. I think it was pretty solid. I didn't hate it. First up, Bray Wyatt. I think this is the biggest talked about thing on the show. Bray Wyatt's return as the Fiend. Oof. He returned after a Finn Balor match against Samoa Joe that went like 3 seconds. Like, when they want to write you off, they will literally write you off. Finn lost like twice in 24 hours.
Well, listen, this is what they do with Joe all the time, right?
Yeah.
Joe loses the big match, wins the match for 3 seconds. Now it's tough Joe again.
Yeah, he's back. He got his heat back somehow. I don't know how. But Finn Balor was standing in the ring. And then Bray Wyatt returned with the mask on. I thought this visual of this was incredible. I think that the production values that they've spent on Bray Wyatt, they've spared no expense here. I really, really fuck with the WWE having the mentality where they're all in on this character, and I see it now. I'm just interested in seeing, where does the cardigan wearing Bray Wyatt come into this. I really think there's more to this character than just the mask. But he came back, gave Finn the Sister Abigail, and it faded to black. And apparently it faded to black on Finn Balor, because PW Insider has just reported that Finn Balor is back home. So it looks as though he will not be on SummerSlam going against Bray Wyatt as we predicted, and that he started his vacation literally on Monday.
You know what? It would make sense, because I wouldn't want Bray Wyatt absolutely coming in and then wrecking Finn and then Ryan Finn. I mean, I think we can do it now, and it hints to a feud later down the line.
Right.
So I'm completely fine with that. Bray Wyatt's visual, crazy. I'm just wondering, will this be the same thing, or are we getting something new?
That's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask that. Like, is this his final chance? Like, is this the final chance for him?
It's not the final chance in my eyes, because he's had his final chance. We're beyond the final chance now. Now I'm entertaining what he's going. I'm more on strictly of like, all right, what are you going to do next? Like, literally, shock, surprise me, please. Because while this is incredible visual, this is nothing of the same. You could have took the mask off Finn Balor, and he would have done the same thing returning.
Right.
It's this, to me, him attacking people to start a feud. Is nothing surprising to me. If we're going into SummerSlam, he probably will end up going against Miz or something.
Whatever. I don't know. I have no. I mean, Bray apparently will be a SummerSlam. I think that'd be the perfect place to re-debut him, and we'll see. I liked it though. It's a good start. They've got me. I just want to see where they stick the landing as far as his dance partner, so to speak.
Sure.
The SummerSlam card very quickly took place on Raw.
There's 3 weeks left till SummerSlam, so
yeah, they got right to it. From the top here, I guess we get to like the most, disappointing match that we've seen so far. There was a 4-way elimination match on Raw that went at least 30 minutes.
Nah, it went like 20 minutes, but it went like 15 minutes too long. Yeah,
it shouldn't have been that long, and it was elimination, which. Why?
No, I mean, but they did it for the commercial break. Like, this is the thing that we were talking about, right? Like, why?
Like, to me, why give them this time when Finn and Joe could have had that time?
Because, I mean, they're writing off Finn anyway. Here's the thing. I feel like people were complaining, and Alexa sent out a tweet of like, this is disappointing, with people booing, people saying this is awful and things like that. I'm not saying I wouldn't say they're awful, but I'm definitely saying like that match was very ungood. Like, it was very like, it was long, drawn out. There's no way, like, 13 minutes into the match, you're slapping on another rear, a fucking chin lock.
Why was Carmella in that match?
Yeah, that's what I was also wondering too. To be honest with you, if they'd kept Carmella around, it might have been a little bit more popping. But
she's on SmackDown. She's a SmackDown superstar.
But I mean, they've been doing funny shit with the titles for a couple of weeks now. But either way, just this long match. For instance, for Natty to win, Natty wins this match.
Spoiler.
For her to go through this entire, it didn't even seem like she was like that much of a factor. She just kind of won. To me, I mean, just this match was not good. I guess
Natty going in.
Naomi didn't seem into it. Naomi kind of looked like she had the boo-boo face on. Like,
I guess going into Toronto, that's a cool.
She's Canadian.
Yeah, that's so cool. But I mean, if you're gonna do Survivor Series Montreal finish there, I would advise you not to do that.
I doubt they're gonna do that. They're just gonna have.
That's a triggering thing. Canadian wrestler in it, championship on the line,
sharpshooter. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it has all the makings of a terrible sort of deal. But I mean, do you think the promo after it saved it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. And I think Natty brought it back. It made me interested in seeing what was going on. But it's like, again, I'm holding out hope for Raw Reunion that something will happen here. But it's looking to me like it's gonna happen. I mean, it looks like no one's gonna be inserted into this match, and that's fine. But it's like, the Raw women's roster is.
We're gonna get like next week, and like Natty is like backstage and like has broken her ankle or something.
Yeah. Because my thing is this: like, what's Alexa gonna do?
Yeah.
Or unless they're gonna speed build to Alexa Nikki, which I would highly advise against.
Yeah, nah. I mean, there's so much people who probably won't be on the card, or probably be on the kickoff show or something along those lines. It'll be interesting, but Natty versus Becky. It's something that we haven't seen
ever,
maybe. I mean, I'm sure they've had a match before, but no one cares. But I feel like it's a program that we've never seen before, and it'll be interesting to get the fire out of Natty and bring in the fire versus Becky Lynch and see how that kind of lines up together. Both being,
I don't see Natty winning this match.
I don't see Natty winning either, but then I didn't see her winning at like SummerSlam like 2 years ago when I went, and she totally won, and I was very disappointed because I went to see Naomi, and then Naomi lost the title.
Seth Rollins, he's running it back against Brock Lesnar. There was again another weird 10-man battle royal with Cesaro, Cesaro, who had just lost last night.
I mean, hey,
there was Bobby Lashley who had just lost
last night, yes.
And hadn't won since April. Also had Baron Corbin, who, again, just lost last night. Why?
I don't know. It would have been, but you know what? I'm not mad at the Battle Royal because I love a good Battle Royal.
I mean, Roman should have been there. Seth should have been there.
Roman's there. Seth there. Randy's there. Big E's there.
Randy from SmackDown, again.
It obviously doesn't matter, man. Sami Zayn's there.
I just gotta bring it up.
Rey Mysterio's there. Everybody's there. I love a good battle royal. Don't get me wrong. I love a good battle royal, so I can't even be mad at this. Like, I thought this entire show on Raw was a one-match show, and they were building towards this like crazy, and nothing else kind of mattered.
Even had like a revival match where like, is something wrong with them?
Nah, I just think
there is definitely something wrong with them. Like 2 nights in a row, they almost killed either each other or someone or one of the Usos.
Huh? I don't know. I can't say.
There was a weird spot where they did the knee assisted knee drop on the neck, and he dropped Jay, I believe, too early, and I believe it was Dawson. His knee knocked the wind out of him, and they tried to do another spot, and Jay pushed him off no, I'm hurt right now. And I was like, yo, he hurt him just now. And then the next night they fucked up their own finisher.
Interesting.
It was just something's up with them. I don't know what it is, but that match was on the show with Ricochet, who did get his heat back by legitimately beating both representatives of the opposing team in the match.
Listen, tough guy Ricky, man. He's they're heating him back up again.
Which is fine. I mean, Ricochet, by far, I'd say he's like the number 2 or 3 face on the show, which, again, I said I'd give it 6 months. And, again, like, I'm not mad at his position here. He's firmly entrenched in his 5-month AJ Styles feud. So here we go.
Yeah. I mean, SummerSlam is definitely shaping up. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of this card goes.
Let's see. Drew McIntyre. Cedric Alexander. I thought it was a banger.
Yeah.
I thought it banged. But I said this on Twitter. Drew ain't the guy. Because if he was the guy, Cedric Alexander would have lost in 10 seconds.
Here's the thing, though. Like, any normal circumstance, yeah, Cedric Alexander would have lost in 10 seconds. But I feel like you need these type of matches on Raw. You need the type of come from behind. Oh, this guy won? How the hell did he? Like, you need one of those 1, 2, 3 kid Razor Ramon where the underdog pulls through in the nick of time and shocks everyone. You build a new star there. You get people wondering, is Cedric the next guy? Or should we be behind Cedric or not? And then, to me, I know next week on Raw, they're going to have Cedric versus Drew again, and Drew's going to kick the shit out of Cedric. So I think in terms of if Drew's the guy or not, Drew's never been like the guy. He's not the guy who's going to be running the brand. I think he's a very capable guy, though. I think he's just as capable as, or maybe even more capable than a lot of the roster to be the top champion on the brand.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to, he needs something else. And I think he needs to be a bit more than somebody's muscle, which
Turn him face, please.
Which was with, but he's looked so, his visual just screams heel to me because he's a tall, overpowering.
He's such a boring face,
domineering guy. Yeah, he is a boring face too.
I don't know.
But he needs to be something besides an actual. He needs to be a guy, and right now he's just kind of been the muscle for Shane McMahon, Dolph Ziggler, whoever the hell it is, Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, et cetera, et cetera. He needs to be the guy. He needs to be his own person. That's what I say with Drew.
But yeah, that was pretty much the biggest hits from Raw. Let's move on to SmackDown, where Daniel Bryan is teasing something. We don't know what it is. He didn't get to say it on this episode. Any idea? Does it have to do with his SummerSlam match? I mean, he's back. He lost the title. They lost the titles on Sunday, like I thought they would. Because again,
except to the guys you didn't think it would.
But I'm not mad at it either way.
I'm not mad. Yeah.
But I do think that they were pushing towards him being a singles, and I think that's a good idea because that's sorely needed. They don't need him to be in the tag team anymore. They've properly built up heavy machinery in a way that I feel as though they can stand on their own without Bryan and Rowan. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what they got planned here. I know someone said Undertaker, but I was like, I don't think it's going to be Undertaker and Bryan.
I would like it to be Undertaker, to be honest with you.
It would be cool. It would definitely be cool.
I would like it to be Undertaker. I think that's something that that's a mountain Daniel Bryan has not climbed before. Yeah. I don't know how much more time it is for him to be able to climb that mountain, but it's something to me that if you're a top guy, if you're a big guy, and especially Daniel Bryan, who's probably, leaning towards the end of his, active wrestling career, that's something you want to check off, a match versus the Undertaker, especially since he's out here giving matches to, Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. Like, that's something you want to check off. I would love to be Undertaker. So that's where I'm going to go and say that's what he's teasing.
But it was interesting. He came out. He couldn't talk. He couldn't speak. I would love that if it was Undertaker, he came out literally like next week or in 2 weeks and just said Undertaker. And that's the match. That would be really cool if that's the only word he said.
I think so too.
Liv Morgan. Shout out to Live or Leave and all the Liv stands out there. She appeared on SmackDown.
Not only did she appear, she had a match.
She had a match and she talked. And let me tell you, I don't think Charlotte is going to be inserted into the fucking title match.
You think she's going to be inserted into this Liv Morgan program?
Yes.
I think
they're going to use Charlotte to make Liv.
No, not the queen.
You think she cares right now? Charlotte is getting I was about to say something crazy.
You was about to say D down. You was about to say D down. She don't care. You saw how she was looking at her man when he was talking in that promo? She's like, yes.
Like, yes.
She was like, I love how you roll those R's. I love it.
I think that the Liv program is interesting. I think in just one episode, they've immediately made her really, really a cool character that's way different from what we've seen of her. Please get that Riot Squad music away from her. Please, God, all the mannerisms, all of that. But she did have
I think her NXT music kind of sucked, didn't it? Yeah.
It did. Yo.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to come out to that either. It's like, nah, just riot me. Just riot me. When Ruby Riot comes back, she's gonna have no fucking music at this point. Because Sarah Logan uses the Riot Squad music.
She got new music on Monday.
Oh, she did? Okay, yeah, good for Sarah Logan.
I guess Liv is next. I think they probably will see more of an upside with it. Who, again, we talked a lot of shit about Charlotte, kind of playing to the ability of her opponents. I thought she made Liv look really good on Tuesday.
Yeah, she gave her a lot. She gave her a lot.
And Liv looked amazing as well. Again, like making the most of her opportunity here. I really fucked with that match. Really interested in what the post-match angle was with her when she said, like Charlotte said, next time I come back, I'm going to be real. So it's either the return of her old gimmick or a completely new gimmick. And I'm interested. I'm in. I want to see it. But again, like with 3 weeks to go, I know they can heat Charlotte up at any time if they wanted to put her in that program. I just don't think it'll happen. But if we get Charlotte versus Ember Moon next week,
listen, if Ember Moon's kind of promo and then we hear the Charlotte music, I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm sorry. It was a cute pipe dream before.
But it ain't happening.
But it ain't happening, Cabin.
But yeah, speaking of Bayley, she did choose Ember Moon as her opponent after they dispatched Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in a tag match. I'm not mad at this. I was expecting someone completely different, but
I thought this was NXT, how this was rolling out for a second.
Hey, I mean, I fuck with it. I mean, if this is where you want to go with it and you want to push new stars and you want to push new women, we have been vocally complaining about the lack of any action towards Ember Moon since she came back with no fanfare a couple months ago.
I mean, to me, even since she debuted, I mean, considering she debuted right up in line with, the Ronda Rousey era of kind of, how things were going. And she never really got the opportunity at the Raw Championship or anything like those, because the plan has always been, okay, we're building this for Ronda. Okay, now we put the title on Ronda. Now we got to make it loose. Now we got to, drop the title off of Ronda. And I think Ember Moon, as good as Ronda is and as good as, much attention she brought, I mean, Ember Moon, I think, suffered from that. I think she had a lot of good momentum. Once again, yes, prior to the injury, she had a lot of great momentum. And she's a star in the division that I think is being sorely underused, not in a bad way, but just hasn't had the right opportunity yet. And SummerSlam is the opportunity to kind of show what she got.
And I also love Bayley as the fighting champion. Even if she does defeat Ember, a great showcase for Bayley, who I think far and away is the best female performer on the main roster this year.
Yeah.
Period. Speaking of a lot of women's segments on SmackDown Live this week, I think they heard Novak last week say, hey, SmackDown needs to show something.
Listen, 3 women's matches on SmackDown.
The Iconics weasel their way out of the tag title match once again.
I didn't see this match actually going long either. As soon as you could feel from the energy going into this and how the announcers were talking and things like that, you can kind of feel like, all right, this match isn't going to last long.
Yeah. Smart way to continue the feud. Get Asuka and Kairi on TV. I'm okay with it.
They're not going to be on TV until then, after SummerSlam.
Well, I mean, if they get the match at SummerSlam, then there you go.
If they get the match at SummerSlam. I mean, SummerSlam's a great card. SummerSlam's a big card. They could get the match at SummerSlam. Will they? I'm not sure. I don't know. I would love to see them Iconics versus the Kabuki Warriors at SummerSlam. But yeah, I mean, this match was kind of just shuffled into the last quarter of the show before the main event thing, and
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
This one's kind of interesting because I want to get your thoughts on it. The Shane and KO program is heating up. from the town hall that opened the show, which I thought was a really good segment, a different segment as well. Shane, again, we're with Shane and KO again. KO seems to be, in a lot of ways, the top face on the show right now, even over Kofi.
Yeah, I think he's getting definitely the rub, which is well deserved. I mean, KO is someone who we've known can bring it, and someone who can bring it on the mic and in the ring. And he's always been some guy who's been on the cusp of greatness, but has never seemed to attain it. Basically, because he's always kind of been the second tier guy here on SmackDown. In this feud with Shane McMahon, he is doing it big.
And shout out to them for going back to the babyface run and doing it in such an organic way that it felt very like when it was happening. I think a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Is KO a face?" Like I was like,
he was when they were doing the KO show, and he was being forced to ask these questions. He was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to ask these questions, to be honest with you. I kind of want to match with Kofi," and that was the beginning of it right there.
Yeah, I really, really thought that was a cool thing to do, and I gotta say, I even if it is at the expense of Kofi, who we'll talk about him in just a second, I think that KO as a baby face, as the top face, is a really new and interesting sort of fold to the story that we've never seen before, and I'm really excited to see how it goes. And it looks as though we're getting KO and Shane at SummerSlam, and I'm all for it.
I like it. It's interesting for them to kind of take a few that already existed. Well, not only did it existed in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And kind of flip the positions and see how kind of fresh it can be. It is really, really cool to see how this has become a thread through the entire shows, and it's really cool to see Kevin Owens in this sort of space right now.
Also speaking of Kofi, I love Kofi bringing up that they still don't like Kevin Owens, even though he does agree with what he says.
Yeah.
I like that continuity there. But speaking of Kofi, it is looking like they just can't seem to give this guy feuds with people that...
Oh, please.
I don't like the... you didn't like the Ziggler feud, but you're fucking with the Randy Orton feud that's about to happen?
The Randy Orton's a much bigger star than Dolph Ziggler will ever be.
Or the Samoa Joe program.
I didn't fuck with the Samoa Joe program. I knew what that was. I knew what that was.
You know what this is?
Do I? Well, yes. Yeah, I probably do know what this is.
Randy Orton don't work more than 3 Tuesdays a month.
This is true. He's like, yo, can I get that Brock kind of title reign?
On a week where the same week where he said the doctor said that I could come back, but I could rest if I wanted to, and I said I'll rest.
My man, they called him up for a 6-man tag, and he was like, "Nah." Exactly. That was my moment of SmackDown. That was my SmackDown boot of the week presented by Lugs, man.
Exactly.
Randy Orton said, 6-man with you guys, with you two losers, nah.
I think that again. Kofi is a great champion. I think he's had a great reign, but the feuds have left a little to be desired. I think that he should be facing cooler guys.
Like who though?
He could do a really cool one night match with Andrade that he could defend the title against someone on TV.
I think so too, but I also think you're talking about. And this is kind of the conversation that I brought. A lot of people were mad at the Brock and Seth Rollins thing. Brock and Seth Rollins is still the hottest feud in the WWE. I mean, these are two established guys. You've established Seth Rollins to a point where he is a main event guy, and Brock Lesnar is fucking Brock Lesnar. You're trying to do something for SummerSlam here, and you got to remember that Randy Orton is still Randy Orton. Randy Orton still is one of the most popular superstars in the brand. People went up for the RKO. People go up for these type of things. Randy Orton is possibly, besides Daniel Bryan, by far the biggest opponent that Kofi Kingston has faced thus far, and he's someone that we know has had Kofi Kingston's number. Hell, he even had Kofi Kingston's number on SmackDown this week. So it's something. It's still kind of as much as Kofi Kingston has overcome, this is the something in the past that he has not yet overcome. He has not yet overcome the Viper. He has not overcome the stigma of what happened 10 years ago.
Are they going to bring that up?
I hope so. I think they will. This is a smarter WWE, but especially considering they have to make this feud in 3 weeks. But I think in terms of a SummerSlam caliber match, this is great for Kofi.
Nah.
I mean, the Andrade match could definitely happen on
I didn't say a feud. I didn't say a feud. I'm just saying like a little one-off match against different people.
Yeah, but you know what? It would be more meaningful if Andrade got the feud himself. I think it would be more meaningful that way. But I think, this isn't bad either. I don't think this is necessarily bad. Now, am I like going up? They're like, oh man, I really want to see this match. I can't wait to see what they do in the ring. Not really, but it's something that I haven't seen in a long time. And I think for Kofi Kingston's reign, this is continuing to take it to the next level. He's being he might be a 13-time world champion, by the way.
Okay.
Just saying.
He's not going to win the title.
I mean, who knows?
He's a better dancing partner, but I don't think he's going to get that until
after SummerSlam. This is for the profile. This is for Toronto. That's what they should have made the theme to SummerSlam. Key and Kenny beats Toronto. Where did they fuck up on that?
Yeah, okay.
Oh my God! Don't no sell me. All right,
I just,
don't no sell Key.
I'm not. I'm just, again, he needs a better feud. This SummerSlam card is looking. I'm glad I didn't spend any money to go to Toronto.
I mean, I don't want to. You know what? I don't want to shit on the fans who are spending their money to go to Toronto, because you're gonna, first of all, NXT Toronto is still there. That's always a thing.
Sure. Yeah.
But SummerSlam itself, I mean, how many times have we underestimated the card and they've gone out their way to deliver? Yeah. I mean, we didn't think the Extreme Rules.
The card's not bad. I thought Extreme Rules card was better than the Stomping Grounds card.
Yeah, 100%. I think, but neither of them were like, all-star standout things. Here, I see it could be better in terms of just like these high-profile matches. I want this to feel like the second WrestleMania instead of obviously not WrestleMania, because that's kind of how it feels. Like SummerSlam should be like WrestleMania in the summer, but this feels like, okay, this isn't WrestleMania, but here's what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, but love all the performers on the card so far, but like Ricochet, AJ Part 4, Ember Moon, it's like
it's SummerSlam. It's SummerSlam though.
Would have loved Sasha. Would have loved
Sasha. I don't think that's WWE's call at this point right now.
Would have loved. People don't think I'm like. Do people that don't think that I'm critical of WWE not listen to the show? Gotta be, right?
Probably not. Yeah, probably not, because they hate you. A lot of people hate you, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Is there any hate in the hot takes?
No, there's no hate in the hot takes. I wouldn't allow it, but there's no hate in the hot takes. But a lot of people dislike you.
I don't care.
A lot they dislike your takes in your thing, and I, you know what? I stand by you, because what you stand by is also facts, and you also bring facts into this entire thing. And I think that's a lot. That's a lot more than what other people can, what other people bring to the table, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's the week in wrestling.
That is the week in professional wrestling. This is the A Show, episode 91.
Right.
Fuck.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe it. We're almost there. We're almost there. We got a lot more hot takes involved, and if you want to continue to submit hot takes, please do so. The Bitly link will definitely be in the bio of this. Once again, continue to submit those hot takes. We will get to them accordingly, and then I'm sure we'll get to them. We'll do a show maybe before the 100th where we just get these hot takes off.
Yeah, I love bonus shows. Let's do it.
But continue to do so. Continue to support the brand. Continue to support the content. There's a lot of G1 Climax, action right now.
Yes, and you will be getting the G show this week.
Yes, so look out for that.
Right.
And there's a lot of good professional wrestling. It's been a good summer of professional wrestling. You're getting some good stuff. You get the Evolve show. You get the Slammiversary. You've got WWE. You've got AEW. That's your take. You got a lot of things going on. Oh, I want to say this: in the history of this show, I have not struck out on Ticketmaster as of yet. I did this time. I will be going to Raw in Madison Square Garden.
Oh shit!
Unless I sell these tickets, because let me look at the prices on SeatGeek, baby. Could I flip them?
Oh, come on, bro.
Could I flip them? I mean, can I flip them?
Come on, bro.
I don't know if I could flip them. I'll check later. Can I flip them? I mean, should I flip them?
Don't flip. Don't flip. Go and then talk about it on the show.
I mean, I guess I could do that, But let me see how the show is looking on the apps that don't sponsor this podcast.
Oh God! All right.
Okay, Raw and SmackDown. Oh, here's the new jug for WWE. I just want to let everybody know this. Everyone who purchases tickets, the new jug for WWE. If you're looking for good tickets, they will not sell them at the pre-sale if you only go to one show. Usually, if you get the package, then you get the good seats because they want to sell more tickets and they'll give the good seats to that. I learned that at WrestleMania this year. The great seats were in the WrestleMania Raw SmackDown NXT package. That's where the great view seats were.
Ticketology.
Yeah, Ticketology right here. The great seats for this. If you bought Raw and SmackDown, because they had a Raw and SmackDown deal since they'll both be at MSG back-to-back nights, you got great tickets. If you bought one ticket, I mean, you're going to see the ring. And, I think that's all they care about this. No, the ticket prices aren't booming crazy. I think I'll keep the tickets. They aren't slapping like I thought they would.
It's an actual Raw show, so definitely you should go.
They aren't slapping like I thought they would slap.
But yes, once again, for everything involving the A show and all things RNC, check us out at RNC Radio Live for all of the latest and greatest from the group and the pals on our network. But until next week, for Meelz, I'm Justin. Thank you for listening to the A Show. Until next week, peace.
My champions are black. How about that?
A lot of them. A lot of black.
A lot of black. Listen, talk about it.
We here,
baby.
All right.